Not at all. No.
Never heard of
it. So, what would you say your favourite stories are from their pantheon of...
Christ, what a question. That's harder to answer than what's your favourite Doctor Who TV story.
Yeah, we don't make it easy for you, mate.
Maybe I'll drop that
if
one.
It was easy.
No.
We'd have any old one on.
It's great. Well, you have. Look. Jesus.
Behave.
Favourite Big Finish story? From those early ones, I think it's the ones that were pushing the boat out. So the Holy Terror, Doctor Who and the Pirates, Davros. These are all Colin Baker stories.
Davros is a good one. I love Davros.
They didn't always get it right when they pushed the boat out in those early years. I don't know if you remember The Rapture, featuring Sophie Aldred living it large in Ibiza.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that one. Was that a Joe Lister one?
Do you know, oh God, he's gorgeous, Joe Lister, isn't he? He gives a fantastic hug as well.
You've had him on, haven't you?
I've had him. No, I've had him on, yeah. I have had him on, yeah.
Was it Joe? I think it was one of Joe's early ones, wasn't
conventions?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that.
No, that was his very first. No, it was his first one, yeah, because Mark and I just reenacted the beginning of the nightclub scene for our episode of Finish Big. It was a truly abysmal script. Sorry, Joe. But he went on to do a lot better things and amazing things with Sarah Jane. And
it's some of the very best episodes of Sarah Jane. He really understood that kind of whole adolescent growing up, all the pain and everything that comes through, and all the joy and those really difficult moments that you go through. Definitely some of the best stuff in there.
He brings a lot of his own experience to it, which some writers don't. So kudos to him for that. But I'd probably say, if you're going to say favourite Big Finish, it's somewhere in those first 50. Pretty much every other release is a goodie, and every fifth release is a classic. So somewhere in those first 50.
Yeah, I can't remember any real duffers, I don't think, from those early ones. I think
there was one called Necromentia where
Eramem
got raped in episode 3. And I was listening to that thinking, what on earth were they thinking? Why am I listening to this?
Maybe.
Yeah. So they were being
don't remember that one though.
Experimental, but not always in a tasteful way.
The Dracula one with Eramem and Perry and the Fifth Doctor was good. I do remember that one. And there was another one. Was it Creatures of Beauty with just a two-hander with Sarah Sutton as Nyssa and the Fifth Doctor.
God bless you for choosing a Nick Briggs script for one of your recommends. No, it's great. It's a terrific.
It's a good one. It's one of the sort of low-key ones, and of course you got all the Colin Epps with Maggie Stables as well as Dr. Evelyn Smythe, and a lot of those are fantastic. And going back to another Jack Rayner one, the first historical, the Marian Conspiracy, which is an out and out 100% belter on all fronts, I think. Yeah.
Do you realise how many sales Big Finish are going to get on the back of this episode?
3.
Yeah. No, I've got them all, so maybe just one.
Yeah. Yeah, we do like to prop them up every now and then, don't we, Jeff?
yeah, we do. Yeah. So you mentioned books earlier. What are your favourites? Do you go more for the Target stuff, or did you read the new series novels, or do you like the factual ones, behind the scenes and stuff?
I love them all, baby. Jesus Christ, another podcast. It's a little offshoot of Hamster, so I'm just doing book club at the moment, where we choose a random book from Targets, BBC, Virgin, whatever. 4 people come together, so me and 3 others, so I've got lots of different voices, and we attempt to be very intelligent about pieces of spin-off ephemera.
How does that go?
Oh, man, they're great. I barely have to say a word. It's wonderful.
Brilliant. That's all right.
I introduce them all. I say a question.
And just let them go off on their own.
Sit back.
And then I'll sit back and edit it, and they'll go to me, thank you so much. I said, no, thank you. I've just put it together and put it out.
Content.
But my favourites were, again, not popular opinion, the 8th Doctor books, which a lot of people liked, but the latter half of that run, from The Burning through to the Gallifrey Chronicles, I thought that was a solid run of books. Diverse, lots of funny books. I'm reading Mad Dogs and Englishmen by Paul.
I saw your tweet on that. Yeah.
It is amazingly good. Very, very funny.
Paul Mars, isn't it?
I think the Virgin New Adventures had a huge influence on the new series. Obviously, a lot of the writers skipped over, and I do think there are some great books in there, but there's also a lot of
duffers.
Prose that's being written by a horny, angst-ridden 13-year-old, when you sit and read it and you go, oh, this is
Yeah, we've done that one already. Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the BBC books went a bit more traditional and calmed things down a little bit. I mean, it did have that one, The Adventuress in Henrietta Street. Do you remember that one?
Love it.
He sets up house in a whorehouse, you know.
Yeah.
Has his heart torn out at the end. But, yeah, so basically
was that Lawrence
BBC
Miles
books. Of course it was.
Of course it was, yeah.
The second I said he set up house in a whorehouse...
See, this is the thing, actually, because I think you're absolutely right about the BBC books there, because I remember being really quite pleased that the Virginia Adventures had come to an end. I think I'd kind of had enough, loved a lot of the early ones, and then just lost weight. And then, of course, The Eight Doctors appears on the bookshelves in Waterstones out of nowhere by Terrance Dicks. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have that. And it is like the biggest reset in the whole, like, everything Terrance Dicks hates about the Doctor Who movie and everything that has come out of Doctor Who since 1989 is just basically been thrown at the wall and incinerated.
Do you remember how he describes it in that first page? He goes, the Doctor's woken up, and he goes, he's having a bit.
He goes back to the white console room, doesn't he? The brightly lit white console, and just deletes everything. Or is that what it is? Something like that.
He condemns the TV movie on that. This is what that's inspired this range of books, and he goes, oh, it was like some weird illogical dream that he'd had, and I'm going. Bless Terrance Dicks.
I haven't read it for a while, I'm not going to lie, but I do recall thinking as he goes through, he's just dismantling so much of it within the early stages.
Well, he basically goes, of course I'll take your cheque for the 8th Doctor book, but I'm a man of integrity. So I'm
going to write my Doctor Who, how I want to.
I'll say that movie was shit as well at the same time. You know? Bless him.
Oh dear. And then it all comes back in Vampire Signs, because they obviously hadn't read Terrance's manuscript, I don't think.
And Kate Allman is obviously frothing for Paul McGann. She's writing in the most romantic way possible.
And of course, Kate Allman,
crude, aren't
massive voice in the V&As, kind of brings that sort of tone back into things as well. So it is just interesting that the BBC range has this weird kind of push and pull between, you know, what they think is going to be brilliant and new and forward thinking, and you get the best expression of that, I think, in the early books. It's another Lawrence, it's his first one.
Alien Bodies.
Alien Bodies, which I loved, because it is so different to anything that came before it. But then, of course, that sets the tone, or sets the kind of narrative for a lot of the other ones which follow, with the whole faction paradox, which is great if you like faction paradox. If you don't, actually what you're getting is another kind of Virgin New Adventures book club again. So they kind of start retreading a similar sort of ground that the V&As did.
It's great if it's being written by Lawrence Miles, these faction paradox. Anybody else, and you get the Ancestor Cell by Steve Cole, and you're like, oh no.
I quite like that one, actually. I didn't mind that.
You? Yeah, I feel like I've come on here and insulted everything you two love.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but isn't that what's so lovely about Doctor Who? We all have different opinions.
The great unifier.
Like we said.
Sorry.
Oh dear. So that's the books. Yeah, he likes books. We can go with that, Jeff. Yeah, tick that one off, mate.
I mean, are you not coming to the conclusion that I just love it all?
Sorry. Which is great. It's
I'll have a sweet and sharp.
Let's talk Big Finish for a minute. So, is that a big part of your Who, enjoyment? And if so, what are your favourite stories or series or? You know, I mean, it's massive.
Yeah,
it's
definitely a big reason of why I'm in so much debt. Definitely.
Funny enough, that's what Joe said that as well. Actually, yeah.
That's right.
No, yeah, I'm a big Finish fan. Yeah, I really am. I've sort of slowed the brakes a bit on releases this year, but I do try to listen around, and I do love it when I get a new box set of something which I really enjoy. You know, something like last year's 10th Doctor Classic Companions, which has a story by Roy Gill, 10th Doctor, and Ace in it. I was getting that day one, wasn't I? Exactly. Yeah. Whereas other stuff, I will sometimes sort of wait to hear what other people are telling me, then I'll get into it later on. I'd say my favourite series, the Big Finish currently do, is definitely the War Master. Derek Jacobi has become my favourite incarnation of the Master because of those stories, because it's so he's so close to the 7th Doctor in the way that he will quite happily play the long game to conduct his evil plans, and I really love seeing that, and I love seeing just how evil he truly is, because in my opinion, he's the most depraved and most evil Master.
I'm gonna have to invested.
And what I love about it is with every box set, because obviously he's the main character, he has to win, doesn't he? Every story,
Yeah.
It makes that moment in Utopia where he's finally done in by someone that he's betrayed even sweeter with each new story.
Oh, really?
I'm just like, you're like, you got, you're like, it's just, it's made, and Utopia is already a favourite story for me, but it just makes it better and better with each story I listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, and yeah, like you say, Paul, maybe we should check it out. But the problem with Big Finish, the problem is just there's so much, and it's so expensive. And we're so lucky in many ways that the show that we love has all this extra stuff to listen to, and the Doctors are expanded upon massively, and other characters like Jackie keeps popping up and stuff. I mean, what other show has stuff like that happen to it? It's fantastic.
No, it's true.
But keeping on, like Paul, you tried getting all the releases from day one.
I started off.
Yeah,
I was a day one subscriber, if you like, and kept it going for as many years as I could until really I just had so many backed up that I hadn't listened to. I just had to kind of make a call. It was bizarrely when my first daughter was born, and you're looking at the money and you think something's going to have to give. And my wife's like, well, have you listened to all of them? And I'm like, probably about a year behind, so we'll leave it and I'll pick it up at some point. But I never did. But it's interesting what you're saying about the War Master, because I did download a freebie from Big Finish, like part one of one of the what's his name stories, John Hurt stories, and it was really good. And it's like you're saying, the master has to win. No, I'm thinking War Doctor, because forget that entirely. I've never heard the War Master
that
stories.
range. the War Doctor,
it's good.
That's what got me into Big Finish in the first place.
Oh, is it?
I
really?
picked up that first box set with John Hurt, and it's still one of my favourite Doctor Who stories, full stop, because it's basically just a World War II film, but with the War Doctor in the story.
Right.
With the War Doctor,
it's amazing.
And it seemed to be that it was. Yeah, and it was quite probably the reason I thought it was the War Master, actually, because it was a really nihilistic story. There was no clear winners in this, and the War Doctor wasn't acting the way that we would expect the Doctor to do, because that's the point, isn't it? And that's why he disavows the name of the Doctor. He's not going to call himself that, and this is right at the start of that journey, from what I could tell. So, and it was really good. I thought, I'm definitely going to listen to more of these. And so, having said that, I obviously didn't. But what I have been listening to recently is actually, and make sure I get this right, is Dark Eyes.
Oh yeah.
Which again I picked up on a Big Finish deal. I downloaded the whole lot for like 30 quid or something like that. Now that is a good bargain, right?
Because
it's like
for that.
4 or 5 in each box set.
Yeah.
So you get 3 of those, 30 quid. That's it, job done. I can live with that. And I'm on the second series of those. But the first series, I was listening to it on a long drive up north, and I thought, oh, this is so good. It's just so, and I loved Molly O'Sullivan, and I just love the Eighth Doctor, and I want more Eighth Doctor. I want more Paul McGann as the Doctor. Yeah. So I'm kind of focusing really on as many Eighth Doctor stories as I can, because I love the Lucy Miller stories. I haven't read the Mary Shelley ones yet. Listen to the Mary Shelley ones.
Yeah, they're really good.
So
I like
need to
those.
sort that out. But I'm planning the whole Dark Eyes. Was it Stranded, Ravages? I've actually got what's that one? Doom something.
Coalition?
Doom.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the fella.
That's with the 11 in, isn't
Coalition.
it?
Yeah.
Yes,
That one.
yeah.
See, that's still wrapped up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've still got that to listen to, and a whole bunch of others there actually. But yeah, Dark Eyes. Oh man,
I've listened to the first 2 sets
that.
of that, and I enjoyed that a lot. And I really like the Unit series as well. That's cracking.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's good. I think that's.
Yeah.
I've got the last set of that, and obviously with show developments, I think it's finishing now. But hopefully we'll come back again, in the near future. Is there anything coming out, Jack, that you're looking forward to listening to?
Well, I absolutely adored the first box set of Rani Takes on the World, which was just beautiful. I wept all through the first story because it was Joseph Lidster, and if they're going to get someone to make you cry, it's going to be Joseph Lidster. So
it's going to be him.
And I loved the entire box set. So I loved the Sarah Jane Adventures when I was younger. And I mean, I was older than that, the sort of the demographic they were after. I was still watching CBBC when I suppose I was 17, 18 watching it, really, which is a bit older, but I loved it, and it was Doctor Who, so I had to watch it.
It was good, yeah.
Mate, I was in my 40s when I was watching CBBC, so don't worry about it. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see where they go with that, because I love it. I really love it. It's great to see that.
Yeah.
It's great to see the legacy of Sarah Jane being carried on as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's great that so many people from the show come on and do stuff, and it's not they move characters forward, and it's not just a story. Of course it is, but do you know what I mean? It takes them and develops them, and catches up with Rani after the show and things like that. I think it's great, the stuff that they do. It's really good. So from Big Finish to books, what's your Who book collection like? Do you read many?
I've probably got more on the shelf than I've actually read. But the ones that I've read, because there's nothing on the shelf, don't they? Like, look at all these Target novels. They're great. They're great, But yeah, I've read a good few. Particularly back in lockdown, I really enjoyed things like Scratchman.
Yeah.
The Good Doctor is phenomenal. The Good Doctor is probably my favourite 13th Doctor story. I just wish I could actually watch Jodie doing it,
Yeah, we read that, didn't we? It was so good.
It's fantastic. Yeah. My favourite is, without a doubt, Touched by an Angel by Jonathan Morris, which is it's an 11th Doctor story with Amy and Rory in it, but my pitch about it is always it's a Richard Curtis film, but the Doctor, Amy and Rory are side characters in the story, and there are weeping angels.
Yeah.
And it's one that I actually read, and again I wept because it was so beautiful, the story, and there's a love story in it which is so sort of identifiable, and so I saw a lot of myself in it. And I know Jonathan Morris, who I spoke to about it on Twitter, was saying that he poured a lot of himself into it as well, and you can really tell. So it's one I recommend. If people liked Vincent and the Doctor, it's totally sort of captures that vibe.
In that vein,
we did a tweet on Monday asking for people's favourite books that they read, and that came up a couple of times, and it has, people mention it quite a lot, so I feel like it's something I should hunt out somewhere and give it a read.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've got it. I keep looking at my bookshelf, but if I have, it's behind. I've got a whole stack of 11th Doctor novels
what you can't see on
touched.
camera there.
I just wonder if it's one of those.
I love
dig
that.
it out now to find it.
I guess the other one I'd add to that is probably At Charlton's End as well, which is obviously the one that Sophie wrote herself, which is a beautiful story. You can see how they kind of maybe took parts of that to use in The Power of the Doctor as well, which is great, So
it's a really good book, isn't it? It's
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I think the best moments were with Ace interacting with the fam and the 13th Doctor. I think when we do crossovers like that, that's what you really want to see, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's another one of those actually where you were saying with the Good Doctor, you wish you'd seen it on TV. I wish that one was on TV.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I got the book and the audiobook, so I was sat reading and listening to it.
Did you?
And
really?
what's great is that Sophie reads the audiobook, and her Jodie is spot on. Like, if
really?
I'm going to be like, obviously, like everyone, I'm anxious and excited for the day when Jodie inevitably joins Big Finish, because we know she's going to, because we know she loved it so much. However, if they did something in the same vein as like the Ninth Doctor Chronicles or which insert Doctor Chronicles, Sophie Aldred would be a great pick for 13th Doctor.
That would be good. Actually, yeah. We read The Good Doctor, didn't we, Paul? It was the second time I read it, because I bought it. I think it was MCM Comic Con.
You said to me to read it, and I'm like, meh.
Yeah,
you're like, read it, and I'm like, meh.
He doesn't really like the new series.
I thought, this is really good, actually.
And reading it after watching, whatever series 11 and 12 at that point, it really felt like it captured, the Chibnall era brilliantly, and we both said that, didn't we?
Yeah, it did.
The plot, the themes
that.
of it, and like you could see it on screen, and it was a shame that never happened.
It's amazing as well that I think, if I remember correctly, Juno Dawson, she wrote it literally from a few script extracts from.
I think so.
From The Woman That Fell to Earth. So it's honestly, it's a miracle that she managed to create this amazing, full-rounded. And you read the book and you go, well, that's Jodie. That's Jodie there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's before Jodie had probably even filmed a scene that she recorded it.
Yeah.
So.
I think even more than that, because you could kind of argue that the Doctor is the Doctor, and then you bring the characteristics, because you've seen the Doctor on screen, that particular actor play in a certain way. And as long as the Doctor is true to the Doctor's character in the book, it's fine. But I think what really gets it actually is more than that. It's the other characters. So Ryan, Graham, and Yaz in there. They are they lifted just straight off the TV. And like you said, if she wrote that without really even seeing them, just from a brief, then how great is that?
Like Ryan,
the Doctor's eternal, but the companions change, don't they? And to get them, bang, just like that is astonishing.
Ryan leaving his phone behind and they have to go back. It's so
totally Ryan.
Yeah, it's so.
It's great. It's so good.
I forgot my phone.
Honest, it is. It's if Big Finish ever bring back the novel adaptations, it's screaming for one.
It's a great one to do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that would be good. So, Kelly, what's your involvement with Big Finish stuff? Do you listen to much of it? I suppose where you are getting physical copies of it is probably slim to none.
I've never attempted to get a physical copy, mostly just because of financial stuff. Like it's just not in the cards for me at the moment. Like if they ever started doing like 13 or Thasman stuff, that would be I would go more out of my way for that. But I've listened to, there's some like free stuff on Spotify. So I've listened to like, it's mostly like classic stuff that's on Spotify. So I've listened to a few Seventh Doctor stories, and I think I've listened to one with Ten and Donna, and Catherine Tate does both of their like voices, so it's fun hearing her play David.
Okay.
Is that in
so it's not been much, and I've listened to like the short trips or whatever that they do, so I've listened to some of those as well, but it's just not as accessible for me at the moment. So
we talk about this, don't we? And you know, in this episode, we'll talk with a couple of the other fans about Big Finish and stuff, and everyone says, you know, it's great and they love it, but there's so much of it, and it's just impossible to keep up with it. And you know, for you, I expect if you were to get a CD copy or something shipped, it would cost a huge amount of money. And of course, like you said, if it was a Jodie, thing like they did these lovely kind of books for the 10th Doctor and Donna series that they did. And Paul, you've got, is it Light at the End you've got, or the?
I think so. Yeah, there's a few of those.
Couple really nice book things, and those are the kind of things where you're like,
they're lovely. They're lovely. They can touch them.
Cost a lot, but it's worth it.
But like if I get into it more, like I want the physical copies. I'm not a fan of the digital downloads. I like actually having the thing so that it can't disappear on me unless something happens to the physical thing.
Well, I feel the same, but because of the the sheer volume of stuff, I switched to getting the digital ones largely a little while ago, and then
that makes sense.
You don't get questions about what's this got another Big Finish turning up.
Oh,
at home,
so what you're saying, Jeff, is you go for the downloads because you kind of sneak it in without anyone else in the family.
No one knows.
Questioning it.
Don't show up in iTunes
until they see the bank statement.
But easier for everyone.
It's very discreet. It's like under the counter stuff, is it?
Nobody needs to know. Yeah. Nick Briggs is passing them to me under the table in a brown paper bag. Don't tell anyone.
Nice to see you again, sir. The usual, is it? It's come this way.
Triple box set.
Oh dear.
Hopefully Jodie and Fan will join soon. I mean,
that would be amazing.
I think it'll be a little while yet. It was a few years after David left before he started, and obviously Matt and Peter haven't started, but Jodie, well, they all love it.
She's doing a lot of stuff though, isn't she?
Well, she is busy.
Filming in various places of the world.
And I kind of feel like, as much as I'd like it now, if we have to wait a while, then it becomes a bit more special that, you know, you've had a gap between the show and her starting that. So
it would be so nice to, like, a few years down the line, like, get to revisit her. And,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
hear her again,
and I'm sure they will. And I guess maybe when Shooty starts, her era will become available to them, and they can do the
interesting, maybe
they call it the Chronicles one, where it's stories with the Doctor but someone else doing the voices and stuff like that. So maybe they might do that. So that's a kind of half decent.
I'd be interested in that too.
Yeah.
Just take all of it. I want it.
Anything with 13, I'm down.
there is an audio drama coming out later this year that BBC Books are doing. It comes out just before Christmas, I think. So that might be worth picking up. So
what is that one?
I think it's called Ivanhoe or something with Ivanhoe. It's Graham and 13. So we did tweet about it on the account a couple of days ago. Yeah. And the guy Neil who wrote it, he said he'd come on for a chat. So we need to sort that out at some point. Yeah. So
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
I missed your tweet about it. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's tons of stuff out there, isn't it? So you just don't see everything.
Literally tons. Yeah.
Well, Twitter is not very good at showing anything anymore.
No, it's
not. It's great at building echo chambers for all of us, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and stuff doesn't work properly on there either at the moment.
No.
Yeah.
Huge number of bots kind of liking everything. If you notice that, Paul, on the podcast account, you think, oh yeah, great, you know, cut the likes, and they're all sort of not real people.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a bit of that going on. Yeah. So let's talk about books, Doctor Who books. So do you read many, and what do you like? Kind of, you know, the fictional ones or the non-fiction stuff?
So I've read. There were like 3 initial books for 13's era, and so I read Combat Magics because I knew that was like the more centered one, and I was like, I need this. And I got
Gotta
it.
have it.
I didn't buy all of them, but I bought that one, and then I bought The Good Doctor, which I still haven't finished. The Good Doctor. I've started it a few times, and I keep my focus is horrible, and it's only gotten worse.
Shocking. Young people today, eh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just there's been too much happening in the world and in my life for my focus to like remain intact. So it's more of a challenge, and this year I've actually made it more of a priority to like read more. Because another thing that happens is I write, and usually if I'm reading, I get into a writing mode. Like that's how I get in the mood to write. So I'll start reading something, and then all of a sudden I blink, and then I'm like at my laptop writing, and I'm like, wait, I was supposed to be reading. So it's like hard for me to it's hard for me to stay on track sometimes. So I read Combat Magics. I like what I read of The Good Doctor.
We recommend The Good Doctor. We read that a while ago, didn't we?
So good. Yeah. I didn't expect much of it, but I really enjoyed it.
But you hadn't.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Paul hasn't read any of the new series novels. He's got some problem with them.
I've read a few. I read The Good Doctor. I just told you. Is that not enough for you, Jeff? Making an effort.
Nagged you for ages.
I've read Rose, Russell T Davis's Target book of Rose. I read that. I read another one, the Christmas Invasion. I've read that one as well.
Yeah, but they're Target. They're episodes. They're not original stories.
They're based on the stories. That's the proper way that a Doctor Who book should be written. None of this make it up yourself stuff. Write it on what I've seen on telly. That's what it is.
But the Good Doctor really felt like, you know, it could have been
It felt like I'd watched it on the telly. That's how good it was.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. So
I gotta pick it up again.
Yeah. Get back to it. Yeah.
Go for it.
I've read The Witchfinders this year. That was my first Target book, and the only Target book thus far that I've read. I really like The Witchfinders. Like I love that episode, but like it made a really good novel.
Great book,
I was particularly happy that there was a Clara bit at the end.
Yes. Oh my God. My jaw dropped at the end. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. A little
spoiler warning.
There. Yeah. Well, it's been out a while now. I'm guessing if you're going to read it, you know, you've read it.
Yeah. And then I read At Childhood's End.
Oh,
yeah, done that one as well. Yeah,
that
that's
was
a good one.
another. I think I started it last year, but I finished it, most of it this year, so I'm counting it towards this year.
It goes in this year's pile.
Yeah, and then I bought I didn't, other than like autographs and pictures and stuff at Galley, like I didn't buy anything for myself except for I allowed myself to get oh my god, Survival. That's what it's called.
Okay. Yes, Roman Row. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got that one. That was my little treat to myself, and I've read some of it, but not all of it. So that's another one that's on the list to read.
Yeah,
it's shorter and obviously different than what you get now. But
when you come back to them, do you remember what's happened, even though you haven't read it for a couple of months or something? I'd be useless at that.
I've restarted The Good Doctor enough now that I don't have to like reread the first chapter because I remember the
it's kind of embedded in there.
Can you recite it?
Even if I couldn't like recite it right now, like once I would start reading, it would come back to me. So that's fine. That's the only one that I've like had to restart, and like Survival's different because it's like the episode. So I know the episode.
Yeah, you know
so
a bit more.
About that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to restart the Witchfinders or anything.
Just went straight through that one.
Yeah, that one did take me a while. Like I read half of it and then I took a very long intermission before reading the next half. So it's the whole thing.
So tell us a bit about your Who collection. What have you got in it? What are your prized possessions?
Sorry, hang on.
Joe's now trying to eat his sweet, which he thought he'd have time to not only swallow, but also digest, like a little Boba Fett in his pit of sarlacc.
Do you know what? You sound like you're talking from experience. You always think you've got time to swallow, don't you?
Yeah, I know. And, I mean, how many podcasts you do, Joe? A bit of experience.
I wasn't talking about podcasting. Jesus. What was the question again?
We have to put a disclaimer out in this one, don't we?
Yes, this is PG-13 episode.
Sorry.
Oh dear.
What was the question again? What's the prize possession?
Oh yeah.
What's in your collection?
I mean, he just.
No. Now this is rude. No, I'm not going to say that.
No, do it. Say it. It's good.
Well, did you see that fabulous toy of the Jodie Whittaker console that came out?
Yes.
That is filthy, isn't it? I bought 8 of those. I've only got 4 left. No.
How many are left in one?
Did you see that console with all those massive knobs coming down every time she pressed the button? And did you hear as well? I'm sorry, you should have asked Chibnall this question. That was originally all pink.
Really?
Yeah, they graded it so it was lit up so it looked less rude.
We should have asked Arwell that question because he designed it, didn't
he? Arwell said that they moved, and then was it too noisy? So they kind of stopped doing it after a little while.
The thing is, though, right, and I do mean this entirely seriously, the Chibnall era is surprisingly sexless, isn't it?
Do you think?
There is. I think so. Yeah, I think there's that wonderful scene in Praxeus with those 2 hot guys kissing in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's not. I mean, Jesus Christ, Stephen Moffat's era.
Oh, full on.
Yeah.
A lot of those problems could have been solved if he just had a wank before he wrote the script. But no, there's a lot of suggestion. When I go from Chibnall to Moffat and I watch it and I go, this is a bit on the edge for young kids. Some of this stuff is a bit on the edge. How did we get here?
I don't know. I think you brought us here, Joe. I mean, we were looking over there, and you brought us into this one.
It was Jodie Whittaker time road to do.
So is that your prized possession then? You've got a little console room that's battery powered.
I'll be honest, I haven't actually even got one. I haven't got one of those. No, I'll tell you what. My prized collection is, and this is from the heart. It's the collection of Big Finish that moved in when my other half moved from
you're saying floor to ceiling?
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Jeff has gone into his secret cupboard, ladies and gentlemen, and pulled out one of those aforementioned TARDIS console battery-operated toys.
It's not battery-operated.
Do you know, I was joking. I haven't got one of those, and you have, so I think that says more about you than me.
and the fact he was hiding it in a little cupboard there as well, on the other side of his pink Post-it notes.
I'll tell you how it came to be in my possession.
Go on.
Brighton Beach.
I was gonna make. Yeah, I found it on Brighton Beach.
Used, of course. Brighton
took ages
Beach,
to
come
clean.
on.
We got sent some stuff by Hero Collector. And,
What do you mean, wait? You got sent some stuff?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my package to arrive, mate.
Is it your
What
address
did I
and
get?
all these samples? Yeah. What's that?
That, my friend, actually, that is a treasured thing. That's a little diary, a little TARDIS diary. But look what it's got on the inside. He pulls up the page. Wait. Let me actually look at see what I'm doing. This has got little pickies. Look at that. For each Doctor. They're lovely. These
It
are
looks
gorgeous.
a lovely book, but it reminds me too much of River Song's diary. So, ugh. Sorry.
Lovely, and it's my possession,
So
and I'm keeping it.
They sent me that console, and it was sort of maybe going to be a competition prize, and then
Then it
we
went in
ended
your
up-
cupboard.
Yeah, then we ended up not giving it away, and then it was at home for a long time, and I had to make some room. And
If
now
you
it
do
ended up
that
here.
competition, will you let me know, please? I'm going to enter 20 times.
You don't know what you got to do to enter, though. We
Oh.
haven't made the rules up yet.
We spent at least an hour together. I think you know I'll do anything. Just for a bit of attention.
Dear.
No, my
So,
prize collection
the
is
Big Finish
the Big
collection.
Finish collection, because I didn't have it. I only had downloads, and when my partner, who's a Doctor Who fan, moved from Cardiff to Eastbourne, he brought it with him, and I just love it now.
That
I
must
love
have
being
been
able
like
to.
an articulated lorry's worth of CDs and
It looked tiny, that delivery
Did it?
lorry, right? And then when the boxes started coming out, and then he weren't moving until the next day, so all these bloody boxes are filling up my house. And I'm going, are you going to come here and sort them out? Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll do all the hard work. But do you know what? It's a great collection, the Big Finish
Yeah.
collection. And if we're ever hard up, well, it's there to sell. So
yeah. You should take a picture and put it online. We'd love to see it. It'd be great.
of what?
The
Oh, the Big
used
Finish
car-
collection.
you know,
Yes.
the
I
used
will,
Oh,
I
that.
will take a picture of that, yeah. Sorry. Man, do you know, people come on my podcast and accuse me of making them all perverts. I feel like I've done it here as well.
Why do they do that?
I'm so sorry.
That just staggers me, Joe. I have no idea why would people say such a thing.
Yeah, I am.
That's
I am
crazy.
Astonished.
Do you
to
know
hear
what?
that.
What the one that got me the most was when Toby Haydock came planned with Silurian intros about going down dark caves and things like this. I was like, what have I done to Doctor Who fandom?
It's turned into a carry-on film.
Sorry.
Carry on, who? Yeah.
Sorry, Toby.
He loves
He's
it,
lovely,
so-
though, isn't he? We
He
love
loves it.
Toby.
Yeah,
he's
he's smart.
So, what's your Doctor Who collection like? Your stuff.
merch. Are we talking merch?
Oh, I've got a lot of.
Oh.
I've sort of in the past year the B&M sets finally sort of enticed me into the collection, which I now
So far.
massively regret, because going to 9 different B&M stores to find Daleks was, it's not fun. It's not fun.
No. Have you got 9 B&M stores within your orbits that you can actually get to?
I
quite
say
easily?
9. It was probably more like 5 or 6, but I checked a few of them a good few times, and then
Yeah.
we were over seeing my mother-in-law in who lives in a different county to us, so we
Gotcha,
checked in
yeah.
a B&M then quickly, and no, it was only those.
Just happened. Yeah.
It was just
have a
it
little-
was just
just have a
10th
little
Doctor 3 packs, and I don't want a 10th Doctor 3 pack.
Just pop in B&M, see if they've got any kitchen bins.
Yeah.
And, oh, look,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
Doctor Who set. Oh, bugger, it's one I've already
Oh,
got.
it's a 9th Doctor one.
Yeah, I've managed to resist that purely because I think a lot of pain lies there if I get involved, or from many different fronts. So I'll stand back.
I think
from
I'm
that
ready
one.
to step back for a bit, unless of course,
Yeah.
you know, with Disney money, if we see a whole line of Shooty and whole line of
Yeah.
Millie
Well,
Gibson, then I'm going to be oh no, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
getting those. You
Yeah.
know.
But then hopefully there's more of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're more widely
And
distributed.
if they could do
than
if they could just do a
B&M stores.
fugitive Doctor figure, like even just for me, like just on a down low, like please,
Well,
Just for you.
please.
We asked Al Duane, Ed Barnett Ward about that, didn't we? And they
Yeah.
would love to do it, although they could have been playing coy. But you know, it's
No, they never do that, Jeff.
I'm still waiting on them to produce the weeping 13th Doctor angel figure. Because I threw it out there and I could see Al. You could hear, the cogs going.
The cogs going around in Al's head.
So, waiting for that to come out. But the figures are great. But yeah, like you say, Jack, it's that hunting of them, which I think some people enjoy. And it's always a shame when you see someone who's obviously bagged a load of them and whacked them up on eBay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think that's a pretty poor show. My nearest B&M is 20 minutes away, which is not a lot, but like you guys, when you got kids and and all that stuff and work, it's an hour's trip to go there and come back empty-handed and stuff, and I can't do it, and it's just I think they're great, but I just can't I can't commit
I do
to
love
it.
seeing people's shelves, when people have literally hundreds of these things and they arrange these wonderful shelves and they post them online. And I just think, that looks fantastic.
Well, I must say that
I enjoy seeing that.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing people's collections. There's a Wilco in town here near me, and it's
not for long.
No, it's closing, and it's gonna turn into B&M apparently. So I'll have one much more accessible.
There you go.
But then what will probably happen is the new series figures will come out and they'll stop being B&M exclusive.
Always looking on the bad side of things.
Well, no, because just be able to get them on Forbidden Planet.
Do you know what though? Talking about people just buying them out and getting them online. I'm very lucky that my local B&M is on the route back from my daughter's nursery, so I can nip in there quickly.
That's convenient.
Yeah,
but I nipped in there, and it must have been half an hour after they put them on the shelves. And I went in there, and I found the empty bit, and I was like, it's and I was like, maybe they just didn't put them out yet. And I went and said to someone, like, have you you've not put them out? Are you gonna put them out now? They're like, no, we put them out about half an hour ago. And then they were like, one bloke came and took them all, and I was like,
and they let that happen.
They don't care as long as the money passed through the till.
No,
that's it. Yeah.
Scalpers, mate.
Yeah, it's a shame, and then they whack them up on eBay, jack up the price and stuff, and it's not fair.
It's not what
really.
it should be about at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, but there you go. Yeah. Anyway.
So, what's your experience with conventions and stuff? You mentioned them earlier, so I'm guessing you.
Didn't we say that what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas? Jeff, before you ask this question, do we really want the ins and outs of Joe's convention going?
How much editing do I need to do here?
Well, I'll say this. He probably won't appreciate it. I'm going to beg him not to listen to it. But I was podcasting with my other half as a friend. We were both in relationships at the time. And we went along to was it Pandorica? One of the Phantom ones. Utopia. Utopia it was. And I was like, I can't wait to meet him and all the other guys. And I sat opposite him at the lunch table. The first time I met him in person. And I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna fuck that guy. And it wasn't that weekend, but it was in Bristol, the next one, the Pandorica one. No, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna be serious for 2.5 seconds. The sense of community in those conventions and the love for the show, it is intoxicating. Yeah. I don't know if you guys go to many, but which ones do you go to?
Well, I went to London Film and Comic Con last year, so it wasn't a specific Who one, but Jodie and Mandip were there, and I met various people that I'm kind of friends with, online, and it was lovely seeing so many people in costume, because it really was quite Who heavy, even if it wasn't a specific Who event, and chatting to people that I talk to every day online, and it was like we knew each other really well, and it was fantastic. And then meeting Jodie and Mandip was a real highlight for me. And then before that, I went to the 50th celebration, and then the Capaldi one that they did a couple of years after. And then I've gone to like MCM and stuff in London, but it's not something I do a huge amount of, to be honest. And when you have kids, you have to be kind of selective of how much you kind of go out and do your own thing. So I'd love to go to. Like the Phantom events,
they are great.
All these other things that go on BFI screenings and stuff.
Galley 1 seems to be the one, doesn't it? Gallifrey 1.
Yeah, Galley 1.
It's not cheap getting over there, though. Oof.
I am not going all the way to America just to hear Sophie Aldred peddle out the same stories that I've heard 500 times. But no, the amount of love that goes into like I know some of the guys that put these things together, and they are lining their pockets. Don't get me wrong; they're making a mint out of these things.
Yeah.
A signature's like 30 quid these days.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. Do you get it?
No, I do get it, but I don't indulge, if you know what I mean.
The one time I saw like a signature thing that I thought, well, that's an amazing thing to have. It was a first edition of the Time Machine, so a very expensive book in its own right.
Yeah.
He'd got every single actor way back to Patrick Troughton, to sign it on every single page. And that's like
special.
a keepsake that's worth a fortune.
Yeah.
But I don't need Bonnie Langford scribbling away over a picture of her face in my. But he's got it's like this is like therapy. Thank you. He's got a box next door full of these pictures because he loves having them taken, and there's easily about 40 grand's worth of photographs in there. Everything that he's spent out on. So
I had my picture taken with Jodie and Mandip, and they were both fantastic. Jodie particularly made you feel really special. But yeah, you're right. It adds up, and again, you have to be careful with your money, and it's like Karen Gillan's at a convention. Was it maybe last weekend or soon? And a couple of guys that I chat to online are going, I thought, Karen's really cool. I'd really like to do, to go meet her. But you got to get there, get your ticket, to pay for the opportunity, and it adds up. So for me, it was a bit like it's got to be someone that's kind of. Like Jodie was, like she's my favourite, right? I got to do that,
I went to one recently where, and this was in the height of people telling me that this era was dreadful. They're wrong, but they were telling me that. And so I went to a convention where Mandip was there, and loads of other people from loads of other genre shows. Well, they all had about maybe 50 to 70 people queuing up for a signature and a picture. It went round the building for Mandip, and I'm like, it's just bullshit what these people are saying, that these people aren't popular and people don't want to meet them,
Yeah. Jodie and Mandip, it was insane at the event for them, the queues, and
aren't they good together as well? They're so great together.
Oh, they're brilliant. Yeah, like they did the talk at the end of the day, and it was great fun. And I wasn't going to do an autograph because I have an autograph from Jodie. I sent fan mail a while ago to her agent, just on a complete whim. I'll do that. And 2 weeks later, I got back a signed card, and I was like, oh, amazing.
Oh, wow.
And then people on Twitter came back and they were saying, how did you, how long did you have to wait? And I was like, about 2 weeks. And I said, I've been waiting 6 months and I haven't had anything. And I was I don't know what to say. Sorry. And then. One of the other guys that I went to the London Film Comic Con with, he wanted to go and get a autograph from Mandip, and I thought, no, okay, I'll go along and do it. And I think they'd reached their allocation, and then they were giving out tickets, and then if if they called you as an extra number, you could go. And we kept saying to the guy, no, the queue's not that long anymore. Why don't you just let us in? And we were really pressuring him. Go on, just let us in. You can let us go. It's only two of us.
Your pony.
And then eventually we got in, and Mandip was lovely and really nice. And it's really nice to just have those couple of minutes to talk to someone, tell them how great you think they are. And just
I said to her, I said, can I give you a hug? And she went, I usually have to beg people to give me a hug. Come here. I was like, I'm not letting you go. Jesus. But like going back to the conventions, aside from the sex, a lot of that happens. Aside from meeting your favourite stars, it is the sense of community. It's the people that you meet, and I've seen lots of people meet for the first time in conventions and make lifelong friends. That's I think the BFI thing that's just happened. It's less about sitting there and watching the Five Doctors.
It's about being together.
It's being together and enjoying it, and then in the bar afterwards and doing the quiz together and just feeling like you're part of something. It's amazing.
I tell you what, something that happened at London Film Comic Con. It was when I was waiting for Mandip actually, and a lady came up. She said, "Are you Jeff from Who Corner to Corner podcast?"
I love that. Don't you love it when that happens?
Well, I looked round. I was like, "Who set this?"
Hi.
Because Paul wasn't there. You couldn't make it, could you?
No.
And I said, "Yeah, I am." And she said, "Oh, I recognised you from your Twitter pictures, and you know I listened to you, and it's brilliant. And we had a really nice chat about all sorts of things.
That's quite nice, isn't it?
Was absolutely amazing.
Do you know what the weirdest thing was? The other week, someone came into my work. So I work in retail, and he goes, "Are you, Joe Ford
really?
from Hamster?"
You're like,
and I'm looking at this guy like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "I've just been listening to it." I said, "What episode was it?" He went, "The Seeds of Death." I went, "Bugger, all right, you have been listening to it." Okay, fair enough. And he goes, "I heard your voice." I went, "Yeah, I'm so loud at work." You should hear me. I'm so loud at work. So if people are listening, so it is nice when that happens. Though.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't believe it. It was, and when you get messages from people, like all the feedback from, the Chris Chibnall episodes recently. If I say all, I mean like 90% of it.
The majority was really nice, wasn't it?
Yeah. And people messaging us to say, we just discovered you and we can't believe that you actually like the show, and I'm enjoying listening to you and stuff. That's stuff like that makes it worthwhile, doesn't it?
Do you not find, like you say, 99%? Do you not? I think if you put out anything like this where you are giving your opinion about something that the audience is listening to and may not agree with, you kind of have to expect some people to have a reaction. Now, whether they go under their anonymous names to their keyboards and start bashing out,
set up a whole new Twitter account with 0 followers, or 1 follower.
You can always tell, can't you? It's like 3 people follow.
My original account, my sub account, and my other account.
I'm always like, you know what? At least we're out there with our names and saying what we think in a respectful way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. These people with anonymous names, spreading poison. It's like, what?
It's crazy. Yeah.
And you're right, Joe. I think when you put yourself out there, it was inevitable. And when we got a bit of flack, with the first Chris episode, you texted me, didn't you, Paul?
I said, brace yourself, Jeff. But to be fair, that was one person tweeting, and then a whole bunch of people using that as their kind of rallying call. Good. But even then, it was still only how many? You're only talking like half a dozen voices, really. Yeah, they were just really loud and really ferocious.
Whatever you would have put out, those people still would have made
exactly. That's why I looked at it.
Absolutely right.
So I pretty much ignored it because that's my policy.
Paul's
whatever. That's your thing. I don't care.
It did get me for a day or two. I was quite. I'll be honest. I was quite hurt by it, and but then I thought, I'm not going to let their hatred of something that I love take away the fact that we achieved something really special by meeting Chris and getting to talk to him, and doing that, and the fact that hundreds of other people have listened and enjoyed it, and they've told us. And so after that I was like, you go do you, and
do your thing.
We're going to carry on doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
You can't please everyone, and that's fine. But I need to be a bit thicker skinned about it. Really,
I think
you're a sensitive guy, Jeff. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think you're lovely. So if you want a homo with a keen pair of fists to go and sort somebody out, just let me know, all right?
Give me a word.
Yeah, I'll call you up.
Honestly, I'm coming for you if you're listening. All right. Not at you. I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nice to know. Podcasters unite.
Exactly. We do, don't we?
Vigilante squad.
That's something I learned. So way back in the day, I had a review site called Docaho Reviews where I reviewed like a load of Big Finish stuff, and I just used to have keyboard warriors coming at me.
Oh yeah.
And initially, my reaction was like yours. It was, I took it all very personally, and then after about a year of doing it, I was like, right, I either take this personally or I stop.
Yeah.
Because these people aren't going to go away. There's always going to be some wanker with an opinion
there's always somebody who still thinks the gunfighters is a load of shit. So they're welcome to it. But that's the thing, and I think it is. It's a thing with fandoms, isn't it? Because Doctor Who isn't unique in this. And when you look at, you were talking about some of my Bond stuff earlier. The James Bond fan community is the same. The last Bond film that was out there, No Time to Die, has, it's got people of such let's just call them strong opinions that is like, they killed James Bond and blah 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 and all the rest of it. But then when you go in, there's people who think things like You Only Live Twice, all the old 60s films, well, that's not really a Bond film, and then you got the Star Wars fandom, which is just unbelievably full of nasties. Star Trek fandom, like you're saying,
pretty bad,
people who hate Discovery, who hate what's the animated one, Lower Decks, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know what, just if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not rocket salad, mate. Don't like it, don't watch it, and stop telling everyone else that you don't like it.
Turn it off and shut up.
Shut the front door.
That last James Bond film had Daniel Craig in the nude. I mean,
there
what
you
is
go.
wrong with people?
There you go. You try to do
That's
something.
That's the only reason I need to go to the cinema.
Yeah, my wife went to see that one again as well.
Yeah, I bet she did.
Again and again.
Did she
go and see that one again?
And then take a look and go...
I found her watching a DVD late at night. I came down for a glass of water at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, what are we watching? Just a bit of Bond. Okay, yeah.
That wasn't Bond, mate. I'm telling you.
Oh dear. What was our question? What were we talking about?
I've no idea. We keep going off.
It
was about conventions.
Conventions. Oh yeah. Conventions and the BFI. I need to do one of those BFIs. But
we should go to one
because they're within reach, right? I've been to the BFI loads for various things, and I can do that. That's a thing that I can do. I will do it. So
tickets are harder to come by than
apparently harder, isn't it? Because only limited seats, isn't it? You've only got like half a dozen seats in there. I'll just pop down the pub afterwards, though.
Couple of hundred, but anyone can go to the drink afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know, the more exciting thing about going to the BFI is nothing to do with the events. It's the fact that they film Frontier in space there, and that you can go around pretending you're a draconian.
Yeah, this is true. I've done that many times on the South Bank.
For my sins.
Yeah, and again, the kids go, "What's Dad doing?" Just let him do his thing.
Let him be.
Ogrons!
When I was trying to romance my fella, so I took his 2 favourite stories and we went to the locations and refilmed the episodes.
Did you?
Oh, really?
It was all part of my master plan to get in his knickers. And so we went to... Didcot and did the android invasion, so I was tied up to that obelisk like Tom Baker. He's going, can't we wait till there's no one around? I said, no, let's do it now.
Let's do it now. Take me.
And even better, we went to Greenwich and refilmed Dimensions in Time.
Oh, did you? Did you have 3D glasses?
We did not.
Did you have your Pugsy?
My Rani impression was incredible. And that is, if anyone wants to find Dimensions in Time in 3 minutes, it's on YouTube. Go and have a look.
I was going to say, can we find that?
I know what I'll be doing.
That needs to be viewed.
Do you know what? Some of our shots were a bit better, actually. John Nathan Turner was directing it, so I'm not at all surprised.
They had to keep the camera moving, didn't they, to get that whole 3D thing working.
Fuck me. So he brought along this bloody rotor thing. And so I'm having to go round in circles trying to act.
You recreated the whole movement of it.
Oh, I even do the bit, that very strange bit where Louise Jameson comes out and goes, "Doctor, not before she cloned me, though." I'm doing all of that.
Dimensions in Time is one of those episodes of Doctor Who that I think from as soon as it went out there, I tried to forget it as quickly as possible. And yet again, in my later life, I've kind of come to find my relationship with it. We're on a platform that we can understand each other, I think.
Dimensions in Time is like, this is the last time I will do this. It's how long is it? 20 minutes? It's like having a 20-minute wank where it's all orgasm.
I've never thought about it like that.
All orgasm. It's just pure pleasure. It's glorious.
I think it's more pain than pleasure, but I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Crazy. I love it.
Some people like a bit of pain. I don't know.
Madam, what year is this? Everyone delivers their best performance. Sorry.
We got any more questions, Jeff?
No, that's...
You better hope not.
This has raised lots of questions, but
none
that I had on paper. So let's talk about meeting doctors. I feel like there's some stories here for you to tell.
There are stories, but I suppose only until a couple of months ago I'd only met 2 of them, and they're 2 which are related. So, by marriage. So,
David Tennant and Peter Davison. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah. So funny enough, David was the first one I ever met because I was lucky enough when I was in college to go to Stratford upon Avon to see him in Hamlet. Somehow, my college managed to get tickets for all of us to go on a residential to see him in that, which I have no idea how, because that would have been the hot ticket in town, but they got enough for at least. It must have been about 20 or 30 of us, and I thought, how on earth have they managed this? And
because he did that right at the height of his popularity.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Was that part of why he took the specials time out? He wanted to go do something else.
I think it might have been. Yeah, because he was touring with
so
that.
it was 2008. I know that much. Or was it 2000? No, it was 2008 because it was towards the end of 2008. So I'm not sure whether he'd announced that he was leaving yet or what have you. But it was obviously the hot ticket in town. And everyone's very excited, and of course, bunch of drama students. Everyone was very big fans of Doctor Who as well. So we went to the performance, absolutely loved it. We were supposed to meet sort of on the courtyard outside the theatre, but I was like, well, I want to try and get to the stage door. I've got a programme and I want to see. And I didn't know where the stage door was because of the time that we got there. And I saw two people running out the front of the theatre. In my head, running. And I went, in my head, there's two scenarios here. They're either running to the stage door or they're running to catch a train or a bus or something. So either I'm going to look.
There is a third option.
Well, in my head, it's in one scenario, I'm going to look very strange and very weird, chased after. On the other hand, I could end up at the stage door and be fine. So I chased after them. I followed them. Thank God it was the stage door. And they had it was absolutely insane because they had like a barrier. And there were so many people around, and he came out, and I put my programme over, and he was like, "Oh, thank you so much for coming. Did you come far?" And I was like, "Oh, from Exeter. Exeter, that's the way." And he signed a couple, and he was back in, and that was my experience meeting him.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Really
The only issue is that I met him there, and I
called the police.
No, I went round to where I was supposed to meet everyone then, and everyone was there. Were like, "Jack,"
and they'd gone.
They were like, "Jack, where are you?" And I was there, shaking, holding the programme. And then everyone on the trip was like, "Well, show us where the stage door is. You might come back out." So I go around there. And a very nice gentleman comes out and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to inform you that Mr. Tennant and Mrs. Stewart," because Patrick Stewart was in it as well, have left the building and will be returning later for this evening's performance." And I felt the laser beam dagger eyes of 29 other drama students just hitting me here. So that was interesting to say the least. Yeah. And then a couple of years ago I met Peter Davison in Manchester when they used to do MCM in Manchester. Basically, I met him.
Yeah, they don't do it now, do they?
No, they don't know. And it was so weird because we walked in by priority tickets. He was there at the booth, and there was no one else in the queue. There was no one else around at all. Wow. So I went to go and I managed to have like a half an hour chat with him, and he was so lovely and so kind, and so he was asking me about like where I listened to Big Finish and stuff, and I said, "Oh, commutes to work and stuff," and he was like, "Oh, that's great." And then he was asking sort of like, do I have a favourite? And I was like, "Oh, it has to be Spare Parts." And he was like, "Yes, that's one I like as well." So when he had a question later on the panel, he was very gracious. He said, "I was just chatting to a gentleman about this before. Someone said, which Big Finish would you like to have done as a TV episode?" So I was just chatting to a gentleman before about this, and it's Spare Parts. And I went, "Oh, that's me. That's me. I'm best mates with Peter Davison," but obviously not there. And then...
So I just stood up and said, "Thank you, Peter." Me.
And then I just recreate that sketch from Doctor Who Night.
Yeah. Peter, do you remember? Hi.
And then I was lucky enough a couple of weeks ago to go to Wales Comic Con over at the Celtic Manor and stuff, and so met Peter again, and then met Colin, who was amazing, Sylvester, who was also
we love Colin.
Amazing, and Paul McGann as well, who, my God, like I'm a straight man, but stood there hearing that voice,
you would have married him and had his kids.
And what was great about all of them as well, but particularly Paul, sometimes when you speak to a celebrity at one of these conventions, that you kind of get the feeling like, you know, it's in a conversation where you're sort of like, oh, okay, they're ready for this to end and for me to move on now. But with none of them whatsoever did I ever feel like they were having lovely conversations. Paul in particular, Paul, my goodness, I honestly think I could have like stood there all day and he would have quite happily have just talked to me about just about stuff.
He's just got that voice.
He has,
hasn't he? That soft voice that is rich and has presence.
I have my special edition copy of Light at the End, the 50th anniversary Big Finish one. Because I was like, well, they're all in this, so I just have to track down Tom Baker at some point. Oh, wow. And Paul was, oh wow, this is one of my favourites, one of the best ones we ever did. You know, did this, and he said, "That's Tom Baker. Wow, what a strange guy." He was like, you know, we had to go down to his house to record this, and I was like, that's what? And so,
oh wow, imagine that! All the Doctors going down to Tom Baker.
Well, I think it was at least him and India Fisher and Louise Jameson had to be there for it. So that's pretty cool. And then I managed to whisper to Sylvester as he was signing it as well. I went, "Don't tell the others, but you're my favourite." And he went, he was like, "Don't whisper it, shout it, so they can all know it."
Shout it out.
So yeah.
And Colin Baker would probably be saying him, "He's a fake. He's not a real doctor." I never regenerated.
I almost left Colin hanging from a handshake as well, and so I will always because I saw him all and got the signings, and then later on I got a bit more courage and I had some podcast badges. And I thought, oh, it'd be quite a cool thing to be like, oh, I've given a few, you know, to four doctors and Sophie Aldred. And so I did that, and I was chatting to Colin again and saying, you know, how much the show meant to me and how wonderful it was meeting him, and he thanked me for the badge, and I turned and then I heard his handler next to him say, "Hang on a second." I turned back around and Colin's there, hand outstretched. And in my head I'm dying because I go, oh my god, I just left Colin Baker hanging.
Just blanked him.
Oh my god. I'm gonna get cancelled on Doctor Who Twitter. So I was very, very happy and very gracious and thanked him about 1 billion times for that. So.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. Have you got plans to go to any more conventions? Any more coming up?
I'm hoping to get along to Showmasters in Cardiff because I know Sacha Dhawan's going to be there, which would be fantastic. And I am also going to MCM London in October, which I mean, depending on when this comes out, you might get a scoop that we're doing another panel at MCM because we did one back in May and they wanted us back, so that's good fun. So I'll be up there doing that, but unfortunately, no Doctor Who celebrities. So I was
well, they might.
I was hoping they
might announce some.
Yeah, you never know. But I was hoping for David Tennant just come in and crash the panel or something. But you know,
I'm hoping that there'll be a 60th anniversary celebration like they did for the 50th.
Oh, with the 50th,
which was a great event. But it feels like we're getting too close to things for it to not have been announced.
If it was going to tie in with the same sort of time period, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because I remember last time you bought your tickets and then you booked the meet and greets and stuff like a bit nearer, you know, when they were announcing people and stuff. So it feels like if they were going to do something, they'd have done it, you know, they'd have announced it by now. But saying that, maybe tomorrow they'll drop the news. So you
never know. I mean, that concert, you know, for the proms or whatever it was, came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah,
and then
it did. That's true.
True.
But I suppose with a convention, there's probably quite a lot to organise, and
there's a lot more.
But you know, fingers crossed. If not now, hopefully next year. You know, maybe in the spring or something to coincide with Series 14. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to go to something, don't we, Paul? The last one I went to was London Film and Comic Con last February when Jodie and Mandip were there, which was brilliant. But I haven't been to any since. no sort of particular reason, but again, when you've got kids and stuff, you have to be somewhat selective about how often you go out, don't you? And I'm leaving you all at home for a day, so I'd want to go to something where there was a load of people to go and meet, and kind of hit it all in one go. So
it's like last week I just got back from the BFI for the Five Doctors showing, so that was a whole sort of logistical thing, being like, right, to my wife, I'm going away this weekend, and then if you can watch the kids, I'll greatly appreciate it, and I'll be back, and then so that was good fun, meeting people. So
yeah, we should go to one of those as well if you can get tickets. I know it's like gold dust, isn't it? Trying to get hold of it.
It's got to be quick.
Get hold of that. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about the future, and how are you feeling about what's to come? I
mean, I'm very excited for the future, but I'm always very excited for the future of Doctor Who. I mean, if you'd asked me,
it's new Doctor Who,
exactly, it's new Doctor Who. It's any way you look at it, it's still the same show I love. I mean, there may be some areas I sort of gravitate more to than others, but I enjoy them all. I can genuinely say that. I love Doctor Who. You could show me any episode, and there'll always be at least one little golden nugget in it, which I absolutely love.
Yes, we agree. There's always something to enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even
that's.
Even if if you're sitting through the Web Planet, what is it, part 3, and it's just that annoying noise for 20 minutes or whatever it is.
Why do people always go on about the Web Planet? I'm going to take issue with this.
It's a good noise.
I love the Web Planet.
It's all right. It's just that noise gets a bit irritating,
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Episode 3. The voice of the Animus in the Web Planet, that always creeps me out, because it's a really soft, really deep female voice that just gives you the chills when she speaks. It's brilliant.
It really is.
Jeff, have you watched the Web Planet yet?
Have I watched it? Let me look it up.
You got as far as, or you just get as far as the Romans? Was that
have I seen?
I mean, to be fair, the Romans. The Romans is great.
Romans was a lot of fun. Yeah, I will have seen the Web Planet. It comes before, doesn't it? Preceded by maybe I've seen the beginning of it, because I remember the Zarbi and the Menoptera and stuff, and there's quite a cool set for it, isn't there? Yeah.
There you go.
I have seen some of that.
Set.
Yeah.
There's always something, like you're saying, there's always a little nugget, something to hang your optimism and love onto.
And I do remember the noise, because that's the sort of noise that my wife goes, "Old Doctor Who is always full of beep boop boop beep boop boop," and stuff like that.
See, for me, it's whenever I'm watching classic Who, it's never the good stuff. It's never going to be Caves of Androzani that my wife is walking in. It's going to be it's going to be part 3 of Creature from the Pit or something like that. Where Tom is having fun with the green monster,
trying to communicate with it.
You're like keep watching it. It gets good.
An image.
Well, Jack, that's the end of our questions for Meet the Whovians Part 4 tonight. So
is it Part 4?
It is Part 4, yeah. So thank you very much for joining us for this. This has been a pleasure chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit more. Tell us what your Doctor Who collection is like. What do you have adorning your shelves?
Not much, honestly, because over the years I've kind of stepped away from collecting like fandom stuff. Like, there's not a whole lot of things that I want to collect. Like, I'm not much of a Funko Pop person. Like, the ones that I have on my bookshelf that I'm looking at right now, like, they were gifted to me, and I love them because they were gifted to me. I don't have a Doctor Who one though. But I think I mostly just have books, and then my own art that I hang up. My prized possession at this point, I've obviously collected quite a few like photo ops and autographs.
Yeah, we're going to come to that.
But like my prized possession now is that isn't like my signed art, because I'm not even a big autograph person. Like,
same.
I only care if it's like on my art, and at this point I've like covered the bases, so I don't even need that anymore. But I went to Jodie's script reading at Gallifrey 1, and you get like a signed script whenever you do those. And so I got The Power of the Doctor signed by her already. And I was like, well, everyone from that episode is
now here.
And like, so what else am I supposed to do but go and get all of them?
Yeah.
So it's signed by Jodie. It was signed by Chris. I got him. It took so much hyping myself up, but I got him to write One Last Sunrise on it because I'm very horrible about her regeneration.
Of course.
And then I got Sophie and Janet and Bonnie, and then I met Sylvester about a month or so later, so he signed it as well. I missed Colin though. I have met him and got him to sign my doctor's art of all of the doctors in 13's outfit, and I gave him a copy of that and he loved it. But I didn't get him to sign this, unfortunately. And then now that I've met Mandip, she's signed it as well. So
fantastic.
That's like the only thing other than my art that I'm like, something. Yes, this is the coolest thing ever, actually.
It is, yeah. I think that trumps a lot, actually, Jeff.
It does, yeah. I mean, I was never kind of, fussed about autographs and stuff particularly. And, excuse me, and I wrote to Jodie's agent, it was a while ago now, just one day I just thought, I think I'll write a letter, and I sent it in, and then like 2 weeks later, I got back a signed card, and I thought, oh, that's unbelievable. And I shared it on Twitter, and people were messaging me going, how long did you wait for that? And I said, 2 weeks. And they said, I wrote 6 months ago and haven't had anything. And I was like,
you got ahead of the crowd.
I don't know what to say. I just got lucky. And then when I went to Comic-Con nearly 2 years ago now, I think, and I met Mandip, and she signed the picture and stuff, and it's quite special when they're doing it there in front of you. And Chris signed our steel books, didn't he, which was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice.
Yeah, and Chris signed for free at Galley, so I was like because I was like, I know I'm gonna get one autograph from him, but I didn't know how much it was gonna be. So I was like, do I get him to sign like my Sunrise regeneration that I had drawn like a year before the Power of the Doctor, because like that was a really cool coincidence.
Yeah.
So I was like, do I do that? But then I ended up doing a cover, like a piece of cover art for the book that we made for him, and I ended up loving that one. So I was like, I don't know which one to get signed. But then I didn't have. It was nice that it was so nice that he signed for free, because then I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So.
He's a lovely guy, isn't he? He's
so
fantastic.
Yeah. And the fact, like, he did that there at Galley One, and everything you hear about him is just brilliant. He spent far longer with us than we'd kind of
my goodness
agreed and expected.
I enjoyed those episodes so much.
Did you? Oh, bless him.
Yes. Oh my gosh, like I'm so bad with podcasts because I have to be doing like very specific things in order to listen to them, either driving like a longer
I know exactly
distance
what you mean.
or like walking. So I was listening, I would go out for walks and I would listen to your podcast. And I was listening to those episodes, just walking through the Arboretum with like this big dumb smile on my face, because I could listen to him talk forever about that. He gives me such a specific serotonin boost, and and it reminds me of like what a wonderful time Galley was and how lucky I felt to be there to get to meet him there. We didn't expect, my friends and I did not expect to walk away from Galley going like, oh, Chris was the highlight. We knew it was going to be cool to meet him, but like we didn't realize just how much we were going to appreciate his presence.
Well, because they're normally behind the scenes, aren't they? They're the people creating this thing, and they love to push the talent at the front. I think Stephen Moffat was good about that, wasn't he? He was always like, Karen and Matt, they're the stars. You talk to them. I'm the nerdy little guy in the corner writing my stories.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but Stephen was at the at the conventions, the 50th celebration and the Capaldi era one a couple of years later. He probably didn't want to be up on stage,
but that's what I mean. But what I was going to go with is, but they're all three of the modern showrunners are like natural show people, aren't they? They're natural. They seem to be natural raconteurs. Like Russell is quite an ebullient, very sort of he just comes across as a very as very effervescent kind of character. You know, he's not an introvert, I don't think, by any stretch. Whereas I get the impression that Stephen Moffat probably is a little bit more introvert, but because he's so funny, so quick with the jokes, and can just spin a story out of nothing, you can't help but listening to him. And Chris is just like I could just listen to Chris all day. Well, we have done, obviously, you know, because because I mean, we were talking to him, and it's like, oh my God, literally hours have gone by, and it's not like you think, oh God, this has got to hurry up. It wasn't. It was like, you know, we need more. We need more talk time.
And you know, I like to think, so we've slightly gone off track here, but I like to think he was comfortable and enjoying his time, because he said, did you have any more questions?
Well, he wouldn't have stuck around if he
we only got through half of them, you know. And so that's why he did the sort of quick fire ones. But I think he may well have stayed longer if he hadn't had to go to the cinema, which, you know, is fair enough. But yeah, hearing, you know, that he was the highlight of Galley for you is amazing. But tell us about the rest of the con, because that one just sounded like,
it's like a lot of fun, didn't it? I saw some of the stuff on social. It looks wow.
It was more of a spur of the moment thing for me to go. Like I hadn't planned on it, because it was funny. In June of last year, I was out for like a birthday thing at the zoo that my friends and I were doing, and then on the way back, like we were literally like crossing the bridge from Ohio into Kentucky, and I was saying out loud to my friend, like, oh, it'd be so cool if Jodie or Mandip ever came here, but like that's never gonna happen. Like, what are the odds of that happening? So like I don't even like have to worry about that. And then I get home, and then Jodie was announced for GalaxyCon in Columbus, Ohio, and I was like, oh, so she's actually coming here.
Yeah.
So that was a cool coincidence. And so for me, that opportunity was like, that was gonna be my thing. Like,
so you went to that one, did you?
Yeah, so that was in December. So that was when I first met Jodie. And that was really cool. But yeah, so it was while I was there that everyone was like, it was the first time our like friend group had met in person, and like everyone was like, okay, so show of hands, who here is going to Galley? And a lot of people were, but I was like, nope, this is it for me. This is what I can afford. This is what I got. This is the most realistic option. And so I wasn't gonna do it. And then
how far's Ohio from you?
I live like right across the river. Like I like don't live in Ohio, but like I basically kind
right
of
on the edge.
Right.
Borderlands.
Yeah, I live right by like Ohio and also Indiana, so it's a tri-state area.
Tri-state.
Yeah. So yeah, Columbus was like 2 hours from me. It was not. It was like a day trip. I stayed the night, but I didn't need to. If I had to go back, I could have. But yeah, so I don't even know how it happened, but I think I just expressed like, oh man, I kind of do want to go to Galley, but like that's all the way across the country. Like that's a plane ticket and like lodging. And then it just worked out that I didn't have to worry about lodging. So that was a big help.
Good. Yeah.
And then it was mostly through like the generosity of a lot of people that I was able to go. And then I did like commissions and stuff to help fund it. And yeah, like
fantastic.
It was very, I think like at the beginning, like toward the end of the year was when I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna go. And then and then Chris was announced, and I didn't expect that, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, because the lineup was crazy.
Oh, it was incredible.
It really was.
It was awesome, and I didn't even know that Galley was a thing until the previous year when Phasmin became canon, and I saw people talking about like the script reading that Mandip did and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. So it'd been on my radar, but I didn't think I'd ever really get to go anytime soon. But yeah, I feel really incredibly lucky that I was able to go to that. Like, what a first year to go.
Yeah.
Like, what a great intro to that con.
It seemed like it had a real celebratory kind of feel to it. Like, end of an era, we can all let our hair down now. We can just relax. We can have fun. All the stress, all the weight is off our shoulders now. The show is somebody else's problem. So we're just going to have fun.
That was very much what it felt like. Like they had a bunch of like clips playing before the like closing ceremony where everyone comes out and like says thanks and goodbye. But like they were showing like clips from the show and then there was like a screen that popped up and it said thank you Jodie, Mandip, Bradley, Tosin, John, Chris, and my friends and I were like crying. But but I was just like, I really feel like I got to be here for like the send off. Like it felt like that was what it was and a way to celebrate it, and for something that totally changed my life, like to be there for that was amazing. And then also to be able to my friends and I worked on a book for Chris, and we collected letters and art and stuff from people around the world. Almost 100, but not quite. Just a few away. But we made this, my friend Emily made this book, and then we all got together and we like helped decorate it like the first night of Galley, just like standing outside at one of like the cocktail tables, and like we all brought like our own little craft supplies. And I just like thinking about all of us coming from different parts of the country and meeting up in this one place and helping to put that together was just, I don't know, it felt like everything that like her era embodied, like being put into action. And then obviously getting to give it to Chris and see his reaction. And like I had him sign the cover art that I did the first day I met him. So Emily wasn't there that day to help to like give the book to him. So he saw the cover art before anything else, and he loved it so much that he like asked to take a picture of it.
Did he?
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, in the middle of him doing that, I was like, oh, I'm giving you a copy of this actually. So, like you actually have a copy in that bag.
You got one
and he
to
was like,
keep.
even better.
And
then the next day, Emily presented the book to him because she was the one who did most of like the groundwork on physically putting it together. And he was just so grateful for it. And when I had him sign my doctor's art that day, I thanked him for signing the cover the previous day, because I was like, this is my most like cherished thing now. And like it's just something that I like will never forget. But he was just like, oh, and he pointed to the book and he was like, well, this will be my most cherished thing. Like he was and you having like talked to him, I know like his energy, and like you could just tell he was so touched by it, and like didn't expect anything like that. And
well, he said that he went to Galley and he hadn't expected to do that, and he's been quite kind of press shy, I think, over the years, and I think having seen stuff from Galley and various other things and talking to him, I think he was genuinely kind of blown away by it all. And I think that I think when I went to Comic-Con and Jodie was there, I think that was the first one she'd done. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was because she was pregnant at the time. Someone will probably be able to tell me, but
I think you're right.
I think it might well have been, the first kind of public facing thing, not like San Diego Online or anything, but the energy was just off the charts. So many people there, loving the show, loving the era, and her, Mandip, and then it sounds like it's been like that at other conventions that she's done. She's obviously done quite a few, which is brilliant.
She loves
and then
doing that.
it's clear, she really enjoyed doing them, but having been sort of unable to meet fans for so long because of COVID and stuff like that, it feels a bit like and obviously she was going to move on to other stuff. Doing these cons was a chance to kind of get out and meet people, before not moving on from the show, but wanting to kind of pursue the other stuff and maybe come back to it a bit later. So for them, I think to finally get to kind of meet such numbers of people, and for Chris, I think it was I'm sure for him, but it felt like it was really special that he got to see the people really do love it all, and what you see online is not really what the actuality is. I think sometimes,
And that was why it was so nice to be able to give him that book, because it's like, here's some tangible evidence that you can hold in your hand. All over the world. We literally, like, my friend Helena made a map that like showed where all of the entries had come from. So he like literally could look at where everyone.
Yeah, I think I wrote. I think I sent something. Right? Yeah, I thought I did. Yeah.
So you're in it.
Yeah.
And we were actually like, we were expecting to get like a lot of negative stuff when we put out like the form for it, and we really didn't.
That's good.
Like we put it like a disclaimer that we would remove anything that was remotely negative, and we really didn't have have to.
Yeah, that's good.
So that was really nice. And nothing was ever malicious if we did remove it. Like it was just like, oh, this isn't what needs to be in here kind of thing.
But if you did get something like that, well, why would you present that to anyone anyway? Do I it's a puzzle to me that people think that you do something like that, like or why would you give a guest a grilling on your show? Like that's not really how it works when you like them.
Let me introduce you to a new concept. Yes, we like their work.
It's called fun.
Exactly. We appreciate it.
That with this era, and like I'm not saying that this is the truth for like everyone who dislikes it, because you're allowed to, and I kind of expect that at this point. Like it's fine, I'm not bothered by it. But I've noticed that when people do compliment it, a lot of times it's prefaced with, well, I didn't actually particularly like it, but I'm like, did you need to say that part? Like, could you just not compliment it?
Do you know what I mean? That used to happen a lot again in the Seventh Doctor's era, when I was starting to be a fan, or was a kind of pretty grounded fan by then, show my age. But it was like, you weren't allowed to like Doctor Who because it was just not cool. It was just not a thing that anybody watched. But I talked to like kids at school, my friends at school, and they'd say to me, you watched Doctor Who last night, you're a fan, didn't you? You would have watched it. Did you see it? And I'm like, yeah, of course I watched it. Yeah. Did you watch it? Yeah, I'll watch it. Well, did you like it? No, it was, I thought it was all right. It's not normally the kind of thing I would watch, and I never watch it normally, but I enjoyed it last night. It was all right. Yeah, that Margaret Thatcher woman with the dog. Yeah, she was hilarious, mate. Yeah. Are you going to watch it again? No. It's for kids, isn't it? Sure.
Yeah.
So it was like they've got to justify why they watched it. Yeah, I don't normally watch that sort of thing. It's not really for me. I didn't enjoy it as much as EastEnders.
Yeah, just just admit it. Particularly if you know that you're talking to someone who's going to be like, oh, you're amazing, great, and kind of accept it. But like you say, Kelly, that thing of it's like, no offense, but that means
no
full offense coming.
And like I fully expect people, like I think it's only right that people are able to like express criticisms of something, but there are just certain times where I'm like, did that need to be presented right here, now, like this?
and I think there's a line, isn't there? Like, and
there is.
Just read the room as well. Read the room. So, tell us what your feelings are about the future of the show, which is looming on us, imminently.
Only about a month or so away, isn't it? A few weeks now.
That it's like finally closer. At this point with the 60th, I just felt so burnt out on news about it, because I felt like we were just getting so much of it.
Blasted with information.
Yeah, and so I was just kind of like, okay. Like I didn't have much excitement for it, not because I wasn't looking forward to it. I was just kind of burnt out on all of the buzz about it. But the most recent trailer, I was like, okay, no, I'm here now. I'm at where I need to be.
It's kind of what I thought, actually.
But I'm very excited for Jodie, and I'm so excited for Donna to be back, because ever since The Timeless Child, like I've been dying to have her back, because I think the like exploration of her, like the Doctor taking her memories so forcefully and then exploring that through the lens of like the Timeless Child. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but I like that was why I wanted her back. And so I'm excited, like I'm happy that they're addressing that, even if it doesn't tie in with the Timeless Child, but like I'm
At least
excited that
they're putting a lid on it, hopefully, or
yeah.
not ending it there, I guess, isn't it? That's the thing, because that did annoy me at the time. I'm not a fan of the whole kind of brutal memory wipe kind of ending. And that one particularly, I just it just left a really bitter taste in my mouth.
It's a difficult one to watch.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, and it just seemed to be so flippantly done in a way as well. Actually, like it's quite a critical thing here, and the Doctor's just doing something that just doesn't feel authentic to me. So. But then maybe that's just me, because I don't like that episode full stop. So it's just not one of my faves. And then just to have that on the end of it was like, yeah, well,
that's fair.
Whatever.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight on our little podcast for another Meet the Whovians. I'm glad that we got to do it at last.
Yeah.
After
finally, we've been trying to put this one together for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, we have been. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us, and I'm very excited to see your work for our little project and for our listeners and your fans to see it. So we won't say anything more for now.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers, yeah. But I can't wait for that. So thank you very much, Kelly, and we'll speak to you again very soon.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. All the very best.
So, Joe, this genuinely has been a real pleasure having you join us for Meet the
Really
Whovians
has,
for. And if you'd like to come back for, we should do an episode commentary with you.
Oh yeah, we should definitely do
would be
that.
good fun.
Let's sign him up now. Oh, we do one on each.
Oh,
or one on each.
Yeah, let's do that.
I vote Cold War.
Oh yes, no, do Cold War on mine, please. I need people that like it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's do that. But yeah, this has been brilliant.
There you go. And then you can choose one to do on ours. How's that?
Yeah.
Anything you want, I'll be there. You fellas are fabulous. I said to my other half before I came on this, I said, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I've done no prep whatsoever.
You messaged me and I said, don't worry about it. It's just a chat about you and your Doctor Who love. Hopefully this hasn't been too scary for you.
Glorious.
I do have one more question for you, Joe, actually, and it is. What do you think?
Yes, I will have sex with you. No.
Oh, cheers, mate. I was waiting until we were off camera for that one.
Oh, right.
What about me?
I've already done you, Jeff.
You first, mate. I said you're very pretty. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, this is it's a sort of serious question here. Let's just bring it down a little bit now. Let's just think about this, right? Okay. What has podcasting brought to you, Joe?
Oh, good question.
Oh, what a great question. Okay, so I started podcasting in the pandemic when I couldn't go out and I couldn't talk to people.
Yeah.
I had nobody in my life at all that was a Doctor Who fan. I had a few people I knew online, but nobody that I actually knew in person. And I've had, there's been 95 separate guests come on Hamster now.
95, wow.
I've met some of my closest friends through podcasting. I've met my partner, who I love dearly. It sounds like I'm shagging all the fandom, but I'm not. I just joke about it. I met him through podcasting. In fact, you know what? Have you ever had this where you've had a guest on, right, and they pop up on the screen, and immediately you look at each other and go, "Oh no, we're in trouble here." Oh, Jesus Christ! You ever had that?
Well, every week, I mean, when we log on,
we definitely had it today at about 12 o'clock, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No. It transformed my life. It brought a huge sense of community to my life. It meant I could share something I love with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the best thing in the world is, and I've had a fair number of people come at me now and say, I'm having a really bad time at the moment. I listen to your podcast. It's really fun. Because I tell you what, not all of them are fun. Have you heard some of them? Have you heard some of them?
Yeah.
Waving their PhDs about and trying to pretend that this camp bit of nonsense is something that's worth studying. I'll just do a load of dick jokes. It's great. And I'm just saying, like, you know what? You've actually made me laugh today, and I'm having a really shit day. And that is... What more endorsement can you possibly have?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet you guys have had exactly the same.
Yeah, it's we
We do get some nice messages, don't we?
We do, yeah. And you know,
it kind of makes it worthwhile, I think. In some of your darker days, you know, when you're getting all the flack from people who don't like what you're saying or whatever it is, and then all you need is just maybe one message that says you changed my day, and you know what I mean.
Or people saying, you know, we love the 13th Doctor and we felt unwelcome in the fandom, and then we found you guys in this little community, and we feel like we could be part of it, or you know, and just, you know, Who fans in general, like I said earlier, they can't believe we like the show. Like you,
it sounds surprising, doesn't it?
But we what is wrong with you?
You know,
a podcast that actually likes the thing it's a podcast of. What strangeness is this?
You're a fan of something you like.
Yeah, it appears to be unheard of. You know, and so yeah, like you, Joe. You know, it's amazing, really, and.
Oh, we love it, don't we? We love doing it.
Yeah, it's been great, and you know, like again, like you said, to be able to, you know, talk about something that I love and to share that. You know, my wife tolerates it all, but to, you know, talk weekly with Paul and other people, it's great, and you know, I'm so pleased to do it. It's just wonderful, really.
This is the one chance I get a chance to do this then, because usually it's my own podcast I'm doing, but I'm going to a very boring job after I've done this, and you guys have made my day, so thank you very much.
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
Yeah.
Do you know, we're all going to boring jobs actually, because as soon as I've done this, I've got about 40 missed calls I've got to get back to.
Oh, bless you. And you're sat here listening to my rude jokes. I'm so
Mate,
sorry.
if we could do this every day, I would. Yeah, we would, wouldn't we? You know,
every time we talk to people, we wish we had more time to just keep chatting and do it. But we'll do this again soon.
We will,
and,
definitely.
We'll come and guest on yours and vice versa. So we'll message you and get that sorted out. But for this episode of Meet the Whovians, Joe, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Definitely pleasure.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll sort out something with the 13th Doctor console for you. What you do with it is
entirely your business, my friend.
Do you put out extra content?
We might.
We might, yeah.
You do now, yeah. No, thank you so much. What a charming pair of gentlemen that you are.
Oh, you're two guys.
And you're just fantastic podcasters, so let's just have that.
Well, appreciate that.
And you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.